You have to keep. I know that a lot of truthers say stuff like it wasn't hot enough to melt steel. The answer is you don't need to melt steel in order to bring down the building. All you have to do is weaken it so that it bends. That's all it needs to do. It doesn't need to melt, it just needs to bend, and then it fails. From an engineering point of view, that's sufficient. He's trying to say that jet fuel to disintegrate concrete to micron dust temperatures of 760 degrees. You are so dumb! We're not talking... There was... this is a matter of kinetic energy. When the plane flew into it, that pulverized it. That was sufficient enough to pulverize the concrete. Okay? Building is not invincible. And then what destroyed the rest of the building was the kinetic energy from the mass that was falling. That's what, and there was sufficient enough. There was more than enough energy to do that. And the thing is, we saw it. We saw it live. It was a building that caused it. It was the mass that caused that building to collapse, not super heated temperatures. Okay, so there is a mind-blowing anomaly. Where did all this energy come from? I told you, the mass. To pulverize the rest of the concrete and the steel. The mass! The mass caused it. Accelerate tons of steel horizontally, create pyroclastic flow, and heat the underground for 100 days to temperatures that melt steel and concrete alike. Yeah, the kinetic energy from the building falling created that kind of heat. That's where it came from. So that's more than enough. Conclusion: the official story cannot be correct because it lacks explanation for this huge energy discrepancy and failed to mention / investigate the energy source. If you have a brain, you know, even a child can figure this out. Okay, the building fell down. It wasn't the heat that caused it. It was the kinetic energy, and then that turned into heat. The kinetic energy from the mass. I just feel like I'm repeating myself over and over again. Okay. You see, I don't accuse anyone directly of being the perpetrator. I'm just saying there's something wrong, and there is. No, there isn't. Now someone has to step in and investigate this further. Where did the energy come from? I already told you. If we know the source of the energy, we know who to look for and who to ask questions. That is what the 9/11 Commission, or NIST, should have done. And they failed miserably. Did they screw up on command, or is it because they're incompetent? Who knows? Needs investigation too. Further, where did the tritium, strontium, and barium in the 35 dust samples examined by USGS come from? Okay, first of all, I'm not aware of these elements being present in these dust samples, and even if they were, what does it matter? What does tritium have to do with it? Tritium is an isotope of hydrogen. Okay, you have hydrogen, then you have deuterium, which has one neutron, and then you have tritium, which has 2 neutrons. How exactly would tritium be useful in an explosion like this? Tritium can be used in hydrogen bombs, but there is no hydrogen bomb involved here. If there was, there wouldn't be a New York anymore. Okay, strontium and barium, I still don't see the connection. What is the point that you're making? Oh, man. They found, what does that mean? What reactions cause these anomalous byproducts? Why isn't there any of this in the official reports? I don't see what the relevance is. What would those elements even indicate? What are you insinuating here? What does it matter? And is that even true? I don't even know. I'm just taking your word for it. And the last thing he says, why are many first responders dying or suffering from rare forms of leukemia? Again, what does that have to do with it? Leukemia is, if I'm not mistaken, it's the cancer of blood cells, I believe. And I don't see what that has to do with this. What are you insinuating is causing the leukemia? And is that even true? You know, I'm just taking your word for it. Is that even true? And man. Okay, so what would be causing the leukemia? What are you insinuating with this? Is there some kind of special explosion or a chemical weapon that was used as well that caused leukemia? Come on. It doesn't make any sense. collapsing the building was sufficient enough. You think they want to add extra chemicals just to make it a little bit more conspicuous? They're doing that on purpose? If anything, they would want to make it as least conspicuous as possible, so there's no funny business going on. And it's not difficult to do that. And then finally he says, why are other first responders developing all sorts of cancers that could not have been caused by asbestos or benzene? You know, there's a difference between this and, let's say, the Gulf of Tonkin incident during that precipitated the war in Vietnam, which I believe has been proven to be 100% false and a fabrication. No one saw the Gulf of Tonkin incident. It was not documented with cameras live, where we could just watch it happen live. 9/11 was. We saw it. We saw it happen. There's no disputing that this was caused by planes flying into it. There is no better explanation other than that. And for anyone to say otherwise just reeks of naivety, whatever that fucking word is. You're naive, naivety. Can somebody please pronounce that correctly for me? You're being naive, and you know what? I'm rambling. Okay, nothing you said proves that this was an inside job or raises any red flags for me. So, in conclusion, 9/11 truth is a lot of shit. But hey, you know, maybe there are some more arguments out there. So if you think that you have something, feel free to let me know.